Hello!
Welcome to Gen Z Meets World Podcast. I'm Aisha.
I'm Ahmed.
And today we'll be talking about stage fright, which is also known as performance anxiety.
I've never heard of that term.
I personally have never either until I looked up. Because talking about things like stage fright, I felt like you cannot simply... I mean, there are some things that first of all, anytime we're talking about any of these kind of topic, it's like you should be taking it with the knowledge that we may not be the most knowledgeable
regarding the matter.
Yeah, it's just that often we're just sharing our experiences, our observations, our thoughts, our ideas, and wanted to hear what you guys think of it. So but you still should refer to and that's why we often leave the links and the sources of the things that we read up from. So but before we talk about this, before now, I looked up about stage fright to see what is it exactly, what people
what defines as stage fright specifically.
So they say that it's also known as performance anxiety, and I'm like, oh, okay,
I mean,
interesting.
that term fits, but never heard of it being used before.
So stage fright, also known as performance anxiety, it says here is that is when your body reacts to the situation of being... Okay, here's a proper paragraph. Quote unquote, being the center of attention and having all eyes on you can be stressful. Your body reacts to the situation in much the same way as it would if you were being attacked. Your body's fight or flight mechanism kicks in, which is why symptoms of stage fright are similar to symptoms that occur when you are in real danger. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Because you when you're being in the center of attention, you kind of think that you are it makes you stress, and at the same time your body detects it
as a danger.
Because you're stressed out, so it's danger. So so
and stressed out and this fear of other something else it's a very similar situation
as how you are being attacked. So thus, the performance anxiety symptoms may include racing pulse and rapid breathing, dry mouth and tight throat, trembling hands, knees, lips and voice, sweaty and cold hands. I feel like as we're reading this list, both of us are feeling I never know how it's pronounced this, but nausea?
No.
I know nauseous.
I know nauseous.
Yeah.
So
Nausea? Nausea?
Usually I would pronounce it as nausea.
Nausea.
Yeah.
and an uneasy feeling in your stomach. That's when they usually see butterflies. Vision changes. That must be vision changes must be when you're really in it. So those are the symptoms. They're causes and treatments and etc. But so that's basically it. So when were you... Okay, first of all, have you ever experienced stage fright?
Definitely so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do you want to approach this? Do you want to talk perhaps on your experience? When did you have you ever when did you what's your memory of the first time you experienced a stage fright, and was it the first time that you were in the center of attention?
I think it, at least from what I remember of what happened then, it wasn't when I was first at this attention. The first I remember
let's define
being
center of attention. Is it just being
presenting
on a stage? Because
we're
still talking about stage fright, so performance specifically. Okay.
So specifically when I'm on stage, the first that I remember being on stage, that will be during the Enjoying English program that we participated in. And so, but then I don't remember having that stage fright. I was.
How old were you then?
4. Oh no, not 4. That was already.
Yeah, I don't think you were 4.
5 or 6.
Okay.
Was 2009? Was it? If it was 2009, then it must be. I was 5. I was 6.
2009. You were 6.
I was 6.
Yeah.
Right. 4 is a different story. So where was I?
Your experience then.
Yes. So I remember just being excited, but it could just be, you forget about things. But at the same time, when I look back at the things regarding that, I don't see myself feeling that, at least like a strong stage fright.
Plus, Ahmad, when he was his memory, he remembers, like when he's younger, he remembers more of the bad experiences. So chances are, if you were like very anxious and etc., you'd remember.
I remember it. Yeah. So
chances are not.
But then the one that I remember having was I cannot remember the year specifically. It was probably 2015.
What happened?
When I was giving a speech at the National University of Malaysia, Universiti Kebangsaan UKM. That was
picture, but then I don't remember the year.
Yeah, I had
it's
the
about
year in
then, it's
mind.
about then.
Yeah, so that was like the first that I remember having a stage fright.
Was that the first time that you performed on a stage after the Enjoying English program?
If I'm not mistaken, we did have
short performances like when we performed Nasheed and etc. But that was the first time that you gave a speech. Since then, okay.
And it kind of makes sense that it's different compared to the Enjoying English one, because during the Enjoying English, I was reading an article from a paper.
So this one, you are actually, this is the first time that you are talking spontaneously,
and it was like I was like given a hint sort of that I was going to be presenting that night, but I wasn't really sure. Was my father teasing me? And then suddenly, yes, I was. But then it was not about what he said before. It was about an entirely different topic. So I was like, I have to like carve things out. And the picture of me then, I was like literally
hugging yourself.
During that time, that was the first that I remember having a stage fright. And then after that, stage fright can kind of become a normal thing.
When you first of all, when you have had like television appearances before that speech, did you have any stage fright then?
Oh yes, I forgot to include that in my. I remember I was more nervous than during the English program. I think it's because of the mindset that
you are more nervous during the television appearance compared to
Enjoying English.
Okay,
it's like
Enjoying English was the program,
the first one. So
television appearance.
So I remember then I was more nervous compared to that that incident, but it wasn't as much as nerve-wracking as the one in 2015 or so.
The spontaneous
hopefully
speech.
That year is right.
So
because I think the main thing is because first of all, I think that's the only reason. There's nobody there. You just see the cameras there, and it's less daunting because when you see all the people looking at you, just staring at you, waiting for you to say the next word, it feels like they're expecting something. When you look at the camera,
try to compare. You had several television appearances. The earlier ones was when there's no one there, just the host. Then we had a more recent one where there was a crowd. How did it compare between the two? Were you more nervous during the? Do not take the one where you performed alone. Like take the one that you performed with us, because that's where the only very difference is the presence of the crowd.
I think.
Are you more nervous?
I did not have much stage fright problems during the one with the crowd.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because I was older and I already
perhaps
grew.
Then it was actually the reason why you had you felt less nervous was more so because of the fact that when you're in the television appearance, it feels more like you're having a conversation with the host.
Yeah.
And less of a presentation.
Yes.
Maybe it's that,
That's also possible.
So the presence of the crowd doesn't really, So that's why you're more nervous during
because
speech.
when I was when we were in that show in 2018, we weren't communicating with the audiences at all.
You were
almost
communicating
like
with the host.
perhaps the audience are like not interacting, reacting. But then we're not interacting with it's like they're in this
except for the question and answer session.
But then otherwise it's like they're in a separate dimension.
They're just watching us.
It's like we have access to the cameras, hidden cameras on the TV, and we could see people watching from their homes, basically like that.
Okay.
So I guess that's good way to that's a good theory.
So my experience with stage fright, when I the earlier, like the first time I presented in public was I was 5, 6 somewhere then for school. So I was in preschool, so they had this like speech day at the end of the year, and so they have a performance, I was 6. They have a performance, and so they had this like group of people, like in my classroom, each classroom makes a performance. My classroom has a performance, so they select a number of students from the class to do this performance. I was one of the ones select. They have a line of like a bunch of, I can't remember, like say 10 for example, background singers, and then they had a main singer. They were performing some songs, I think in Arabic, about teachers or something. I can't remember, isn't it? I think in Nani, we're talking about like we're like small children, but we're like excited to learn kind of. So they have the background singers and the main singer. So I was part of the background singer, and then eventually things happened, and I was chosen to do them because the first singer got chicken pox. The second one during practice fainted because she was fasting, so they were like they wanting to look for someone else to take the center stage. No one wanted to volunteer. They couldn't like pick a person they liked. Both of the people they liked had problems, so they asked for someone to volunteer, and then I was like, I'm volunteering. And then when during practice, I had no problems at all. I was just reciting everything. But then during the performance itself, I actually cannot remember exactly how I was feeling. But one thing about me then, my mindset then, I remember that talking for me had always been, how do I say this? Not a communication in a way. Like I've always thought, there's like so many recordings of myself just talking to myself, to no one, to people, and I'm not even looking at people, and etc. So that action is just talking. So there's no difference between performing and talking with people and talking with myself. It is all just an action of talking, speaking out your thoughts.
Or at least just making sounds.
So I think it's more of a speaking out my thoughts kind of thing.
But in the sense of the song,
because I'm having the song in my head, so I'm like voicing
I guess.
the things that's going on in my head.
When you have a song stuck in your head, you just play it out.
There's some music, I just hum it, so it's just like, so there was no difference between performing in public and talking. So no, I don't think I had stage fright then, but I can't remember for a fact, but I don't think so. But fast forward later, eventually I started to realize that talking with people is not the same as just talking. There's like a communication going on, there's responses. You're actually supposed, like, how people react to what you say actually depends, like, is somewhat affected. There's many factors, but somewhat affected by how you talk to them. So that was when I think I started to get stage fright, because I realized that when people look at you, there's like judgment, so I was like,
analyzing your
so then I started getting a lot of stage fright. Like I started like shaking and very, very nervous.
I think that might also be not like exactly, but then like somewhat also the reason why I did not really feel much when I was younger. So it's kind of like took it lighter, because even if back in 2015, if you were to give me a paper to read in front of a crowd, I might still be having a stage fright. at the very least, just hug myself. But then before that, I took things more simpler, and like you don't really see the impact of like what you do to the other people's perception.
Which like like now you start to think about like during like public performances, you think about like first of all, everyone's looking at you, like but why is it scary that everyone's looking at you, and why was it not scary when we were younger that everyone's looking at you? First of all, for you, I think because when you're just reading that paper, that article, you're just reading it out.
Hello. Ramadan Mubarak.
Hello everyone. Hi, Assalamualaikum. We have Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. It's first Ramadan, first day, 1443.
1443. Yeah.
Yes. So Ramadan Mubarak to everyone, and we hope that it's everyone's having a good day. I mean, it's like first Ramadan. Most of us might be tired. Some of us might not be, but the chances are. Now, forgive us just for a moment. There's a bit of a technical issue. Let me solve it. Okay. That's cool. All right. So, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kak Wahidah. Good morning. It's very nice to see people up in the morning today on first Ramadan. Of the
for Ramadan. Yeah. I like Ramadan is like the I mean, is it holiest, but then definitely like one of the most like blessed month of the year. And I've always loved Ramadan because it comes with such, I mean, I don't know if it's like psychological, but then like regardless, it comes with such like a tranquil kind of like peaceful feeling, and it just makes you feel so nice and like so happy. Like I just really
it's the thing that makes me most excited to every time Ramadan is near, or every time Ramadan is over, I want to wait for the next year because of that whole
and like when Ramadan is ending, you feel like so sad, like
because you don't get that same feeling of that's tranquil. It's really nice.
So and like I feel like alongside like just like it feels etc. Often we also like being a month where you want to do so many things and so many good things and like better yourself, in the sense of like, for example, in the sense of ibadah, you want to perform as much ibadah as possible because of like the reward that it's given, and also just to feel like it's like sort of like, I mean, for some people, yes, that's that whole concept of like just it being an exciting part of Ramadan, and then so for some other people it's like because you'll get what do you call that, like ganjaran pahala, like
rewards,
but then like like they could like it's even more blessed to perform it during Ramadan. Like the wording is like not correct, but then like
bonus sort of during Ramadan,
so there's also that. But then for some other people, sometimes it's just like a moment to, because Ramadan with all of the whole surrounding, it's not just about what you feel, but even like just what's going on around, like the way, like it's sort of like the surrounding,
the environment is different.
Yes, and it is accommodated for you to do better and be better and perform a lot of ibadah and etc. And so that in itself motivates you to
actually be better and do good things in general.
And some people, like, they've always wanted to do something, but then they couldn't find like how to like push themselves during Ramadan.
It's a very good motivation,
because of like the whole surrounding and everything, etc. So thus like with all of that, we often hear like Ramadan goals, like things that they want to do. Sometimes it's even like things that they, even from like ibadah to even like simple things that they want to make themselves better, that they kept on pushing them away, pushing back, and then now like it's like the time to do it. So thus they have like Ramadan goals. So how, what are some Ramadan goals that you have? Like, what are some?
Well, first of all, generally a lot of these cases, especially during Ramadan, actually my main goal is to actually be more disciplined, because I always have that problem. So among my goals this year specifically, that I did not exactly push for last year, is to have a better sense of cleanliness, in the sense that like messy, have my workspace
Like
is messy. Yeah?
Like
Tidiness, that's the word. Tidiness, not cleanliness. Because oftentimes I have like my tables in a mess. So generally I have my goals set for like every week I will try to clean my table, but I'm trying to make it so that all the time I'll have it tidy, because the thing is that in that kind of case, it affects a lot of things, a lot of things, and your mindset is all affected by
why is it that you choose to do it during Ramadan?
Because
like, why is it a Ramadan goal,
because I feel like the concept of Ramadan being holding yourself back from doing bad things, so I'm trying to hold myself back from,
and it's like also like about discipline.
Yes, discipline. So like holding myself back from making things messy, basically.
Yeah.
And with that attitude,
just having disciplines in general.
Yeah. Because most of the time it's just that I do not exactly. It's sort of like I do not bother about this messiness of things or the tidiness of things. So it's a nice way to put things. So.
Yeah. We have what he does say is that sometimes first day fasting you tend to forget that you're already fasting. That's why don't sleep also pray.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, just before I was starting the live podcast, I was like, my throat doesn't feel so good, and I didn't reach for water, but then like my head was like automatically, throat doesn't feel good equals take water. But then I was like, wait, hold a second, I'm fasting.
Just before that, like before I came to this room for the recording, I was in my room, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go, but then I'm going to talk in a bit, so I'm going to need some water. So I was like looking for where's my water bottle, and I would just remember it.
So I find it interesting because that's like taking from like what you just mentioned, being that fast Ramadan is not just like it's like, because I think it is like just that opportunity to what Ramadan goals, I'm sorry, that opportunity to just improve yourself, because like finding motivation sometimes may be a bit tricky. There was this a bit
it's
like,
quite tricky.
There's this thing that I read the other day from a psychologist or psychiatrist, I can't remember, from somewhere. He mentioned that motivation is, I can't remember if there was a scientific backup for it, but then basically motivation is actually just to the ability to keep a thought in your head, sort of like, can you see it, like the ability to just, when you, for example, need to study, the ability to keep in mind that you're just studying. And so when a different thought comes in, you do not go to it, do not be distracted. And essentially, that is sort of like discipline.
Yeah, it's back to disciplines.
Yeah.
Focus and disciplines.
Yeah, which is one of like the virtues, I guess, that, in fasting and Ramadan.
Because in Ramadan, it goes back to the whole, like, when you're thinking, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go to eat. And you remember that you're fasting.
So like holding that
so it
thought.
goes back to that, I guess, concept.
Yeah. For me, a Ramadan goal that I have, I'm sorry if sometimes I'm like having a slight cough. So a Ramadan goal that I have, like, I think every Ramadan we always want to like khatam, finish the Quran.
Yes.
That's like one thing that we always want to do. And being a woman.
Yeah.
I was like, which one's like the correct way of saying woman, a lady, a female, but then like, being a woman, you actually have to like, because like often people say like guides, if you read a juzu a page, you'll be able to finish
a juzu a day.
Sorry, I'm sorry, a juzuk a day, you'll be able to finish khatam the Quran once. How many juzuks a day? Twice, etc. Being a woman, actually, you have to time the amount you read differently because, if you can't fast, then you can't read the Quran. Yeah. So, which comes to planning.
Planning, yeah. Which involves a lot of discipline to follow the plan properly.
Yeah.
Especially when when the thing doesn't go as planned.
So it's like
the thing that happens to me a lot is that I follow my plan well until it doesn't go as planned, and I just stick to the original plan, and it doesn't work because
sorry,
when something happens, that makes the plan fail.
Yeah,
I just stick to the original plan.
Oh, okay,
without adapting to the new way, because
yeah.
I'm too lazy to just follow.
Yeah. So yeah, that is one of the Ramadan goals that we have. That you always have. But then other than that, specifically this year, it's okay. I can't, I'm not sure if I have a specifically this year goal, because I feel like just every year I always just want to be better essentially. Yeah. So my focus is that's
the thing. It's just that, about being tidy is it's something that I kind of just being exploring.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But specifically this year, I think, aside that, which I will probably carry on for the following years, there's nothing much. So
that's all that. That's finishing the Quran, trying to be more patient. Like every day you're like, okay, I'll be more patient. I'll try to not get so riled up so fast. And then to perform the sunnah prayers, and all of that.
And other sunnah ibadahs.
Yeah. So essentially, I think for me in Ramadan goals, I want to perform more of those and be a better version of myself. And in performing them, I want to perform them better,
Yeah.
So even though I may perform the same amount, say for example,
but with more focus and with more things that certain things you can do some additional things within the thing, sunnah things. I'm not sure how to put it, but then those
just better in general.
Yeah, better in general. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So yeah. So. But then one of the things that I often have in Ramadan, I started this many years ago. I think when I was 9, I would have this Ramadan table where I would write down for example, I would have the first column. Yeah, the first column would be the first Ramadan, second Ramadan, third Ramadan, fourth Ramadan, etc. And then I would have for example, I'll write Quran, and so that would be how many pages of Quran I read, and then sunnah prayers. How if I perform all of my sunnah prayers and etc. And so that often motivates me to do more, and it's a nice thing to keep track, and I see oh, I did this, oh, and then I feel when it's done I see all the ticks and I'm that was a good Ramadan, and I'm I want Ramadan again. Yeah. Yes. That is a real dilemma. That's true. To be honest, I often feel, with everything that happens, you're supposed to reda, not be upset about it. But then to be honest, when you can't fast in Ramadan, you can fast on any other days, true. And that's the Rajab and Sha'ban, you can already fast then you have and you can just even fast on any other day. You can fast on Thursdays, But then during Ramadan and you can't fast, it feels so sad. And if
I can relate to that back in 2019 when I was sick and I wasn't able to it was related to some gastric problem. So
and
I wasn't able to.
The physician said that you cannot fast because
so I'm
you were throwing out all the time. Yeah, it's so sad. And then we face that every year.
Yeah.
It's just so sad. It's the worst
and
thing to happen.
when people are breaking fast and I'm I've been eating the whole day. It doesn't feel
At least though you can still perform the Tarawih prayers and you can still read the Quran. We couldn't do all that, so it's But yeah. So yeah. So when you have like that Ramadan table and like, seeing all that makes you feel very nice and very good. And then I also have like, because when you're younger, it's exciting. I also have this section where it's like sahur and then iftar. So I write down what I eat for sahur and what I eat.
I remember
that
there are times when you will you haven't kept checking, and you will be asking what did we eat? What did we eat that day?
Sometimes because I forgot to write it down. Yes, and then whenever and then after a few years, I would see like a pattern. Okay, so our father usually buys bubur lampu on this day. Our mother would cook. Sometimes there is a pattern. Like what mother would cook, she'll cook this and this
because
and this.
Eventually, she would start to get bored of these kind of foods.
Yeah.
Because at first you would think, okay, these kind of foods, this will be the best.
And but also because like it's easier for you to heat up and etc.
But then we've been eating the same type of food for a few days, so we're like, okay, let's switch to this food instead.
And then like, on this day, our father would buy satay. Yeah. And then like, but then the pattern like kind of like shifted after our father passed away. Then like.
It kind of just depends on the situation,
Yeah. Yeah. We will do better each year as we are aging. Keep track. Yeah. It's good to be like if you're like being better by year, like
that's what how things should be. So
make yesterday good, today better, and tomorrow the best. That's like my quotes. Since I think it was like on the school poster. I think I mentioned it in
it wasn't stage fright, wasn't it?
No, it was the goals.
Homeschooling. Oh, goals.
New Year's goals. Yeah, I think it was New Year's goals episode.
I felt like it was just recent.
Yeah, it's been a while. By episode number, it was like
yes.
Yeah, because we skipped a few episodes to make the live sessions. Yeah, so yeah. So like how to motivate, I think like one of the questions would also come into like, how do you want to motivate yourself? How are you going to motivate yourself to be better, to just like like to actually chase after those goals and work for those goals and etc. How would you?
I think mostly in my case it would be sort of like the having the thing, being aware of your actions. So with that, you will start to in the first place, sort of like, how do you say it? Pertimbangkan.
I'm not
consider
sure what you're
like not the best word, but then consider if what you're doing is worth it or not. Like see first.
I mean, I think oftentimes in cases like things like being disciplined, it's just holding yourself back from not doing it, from making those excuses and following them. So, and just sticking to that.
Things like being not impatient when something's going wrong. You're thinking like, is it worth it or not for you to act this way?
Well, it's never worth it.
No, sometimes like for example. Let me think of an example. Like, not all actions that you do are considered as impatient.
Okay.
Sometimes you still need to do that thing.
Okay.
So,
but then that's it. If it is impatient.
Yeah, if it is impatient, then you don't do it. So, take some time to consider if that is.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Take some time
to consider. Okay. What you mean to say is
whether
that
your actions
is impatient.
Is impatient, or like if it's a correct action.
Yes.
If it's
I get that. Yes.
Yeah.
Because like when you say it, I thought it was like sometimes impatience is just
no. That's not what I meant.
So yeah, I think and then like like the whole thing about I feel like I'm being a broken record, but then like the thing about that disciplines, it is to I think it comes with that mindfulness.
Yeah.
A is like the ability to hold yourself back from following your nafs, and then B, to be mindful of your actions and to be aware if that action is because sometimes you do not realize that you justify your actions, and sometimes you don't realize that what you're doing is actually not.
Yeah, it's like you said, you don't realize it's an act of impatience. You thought it's just justified.
Yes. Oh no, not even justified. You thought that it's just an action.
Yeah, it's just an action. Yeah.
Like justified, then you're already justifying.
You're already justifying. But this it's just a typical response and
typical like action. The thing about Ramadan, one of the things, last time, I would like also like one of the goals I have is to try to wake up for Qiyamul. It was like not that easy when I was younger because it's so hard to stay awake, and like it feels nice and everything, but then like it doesn't feel as like strong or something. And this, I think I also wasn't aware of how much that you can do and what you can do and etc. But then eventually when we started going to the surau nearby, and then they on the last 10 days they would have like Qiyamulais, that then I was like it was like so fun and like so
and
nice.
That's
and
one of the most tranquil, that feeling when I follow that. It was the whole time being there. It's like you're sort of like in a different dimension already.
Yes.
So
and that like strengthens the whole not like argument, but then like the whole idea of how during Ramadan not only just people, because I think essentially as humans, most of us, perhaps not all of us, though I would argue in some ways all of us intrinsically, but then like in some ways some of us often want to always improve themselves, whether or not they actually are improving themselves, but they want to, there's always this like want to improve themselves. And so when they are not improving themselves, or when they are like just like not moving forward, it feels very frustrating for them. And so they do want to improve themselves, but then they couldn't. I mean, perhaps they're not trying hard enough regardless, but there is
still
that one
that's hard difficulty.
Yes. And so when the environment like really accommodate, but then B encourages you to be better, then a lot of people would actually be better.
And the only thing that we need to, well, a lot of things, but then one of the things that we just need to think about is to retain that goodness even after Ramadan is over, which I mean, in a lot of cases, it generally at least reduces a bit, but then we want to reduce that reduction as much as possible. You know?
But then that is true. I mean, because sometimes people do question like, why is it that you just want to do this during Ramadan? Why is it that you just want to read the Quran? Like you don't read the Quran any other time. It's true. And it's also true that some people find it hard to motivate themselves. And it may be true that they should have tried harder. But it's also true that during Ramadan
it is easier. So why not they take the chance?
It's good for them actually. So I do agree that you should not just do it during Ramadan. It shouldn't be just a Ramadan thing. But then sometimes for some people it's just like that moment is when it is the easiest for them to do it, and like it feels nice for them, and so like it's good to be encouraging with each other, and to try to encourage them not during Ramadan,
we take this as like a stepping stone.
So what do you want to achieve this Ramadan?
Well, first of all, more pages of Quran read, the entire duration of the Ramadan, and then more sunnah prayers. That's the two main things that I generally set every year. And then well, back to the first thing that I mentioned, I want
about
to
like being being more disciplined.
Discipline in general. So because generally that's the thing that I'm lacking.
I think for
which
me,
leads to the whole not being able to read as much Quran as I want to.
Because it's discipline.
So
I think essentially at the highest top of it all in like Ramadan, and what you want to reach for it, what you want to achieve is like to like sort of like have to reach a state, I'm not sure if I'm going to phrase this right, but then like to reach a state of being where you are like, I think you want to find like blessings, and then you want to, all of these things that you do, like reading the Quran and then like fasting and like sunnah prayers and etc., it's just like sort of like the things that you do to attain that high sort of like victory at the end, you know, like that feeling of like blessed and tranquil.
I think that
and
is
like
some of what a lot of people call it, victory at the end of Ramadan.
I think that's what people usually call it. So like, and that victory is not just like, you know, about like being able to fast like the whole time, but like
your personal achievement.
It's sort of like something that you win at the end, but then it's not like exactly a physical, it's not tangible.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not something that involves others as well. In a way, it's more to yourself, your own personal self,
and
which you know, you do celebrate it with others, but then the best part is within your own self. The thing that you know you did.
It's like you.
The thing that
and Allah.
So
it's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's like the thing I think that, you know, you want to achieve, and that is very sad if you do not get to achieve it. Sometimes I feel frustrated with myself because I feel like it felt better a different year. I've only done this once. Okay, this is one year when I was like very frustrated because I feel like it was better the other year, and then it's like maybe it's because I didn't read enough Quran. Maybe it's because I wasn't like in the best state of mind, you know, etc. But then you shouldn't be comparing them by years, because these things are not like, you know, the tangible.
And like it kind of depends on, sometimes the thing that you do are not as much, but you do them better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of better.
It's about the intention.
It's about the intent, yes.
Yeah. And you should allow yourself space to like forgive yourself if you know, because sometimes things happen and etc. Like that year that you couldn't fast as much, you know, like it's not, you know, I think that's
just because you did a bit, you know, less better this year doesn't mean that it's going to be the end.
Yep. That you know,
it just drives you to do better, even better next year.
Yeah. So I think that is like part of like, you know, like the really nice thing about Ramadan, and it's like it's this personal journey.
That's personal journey. That's a very.
It's like
nice,
this personal journey, you know. Like sometimes people also mention that you're supposed to have prepared yourself for Ramadan beforehand, like, you know, during Rajab and Sha'ban, you would already prepare yourself to like be more. You would. That's why you do the sunnah prayers. Sunnah fasts, so that during Ramadan you're not as tired, you know, and so you can perform more. Or for example, you would wake up early so that you won't be as tired during Ramadan, you know, and all of that. And it's true. It is true. But just because you didn't do it, don't fret, you know? Like, it's about the now.
Yeah. And like the whole sorry, a bit but then back to the journey part. It, you know, it's sort of like when you're climbing a cliff. You know,
a cliff? How can you climb a cliff?
Mountain, cliff, you know, that kind of.
Oh, okay.
Rock climbing.
Oh, yeah, you can climb a cliff.
Yeah.
Just that I would be like, why don't you just climb the mountain side of it?
Yeah. But like, if you're climbing a cliff, it's not something that you could do as a team, in the sense that you cannot climb together. You need to climb individually, but then you could still help each other.
Okay.
I see it that way.
Yeah.
So you're on your own.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you can still help others.
The analogy is a bit confusing for me, but yeah.
I'm not the best at analogies, but then,
I mean, because in the end, what you attain, there's no like, there is in a way like a group achievement, in the sense that you know, work together. Like during Ramadan, when we, you know, usually when we go to Surau, it's usually like we go for the Qiyamul, we go together, and we share the sentiment, you know, together. But then individually, we have our own personal thing that. And it's not important that for you to tell another person and make that person understand it was really great for me, you know.
You do not understand. It was like the best, the best morning for me. No,
this is Ramadan. You know, it's like for your own.
It's just your own appreciation, your own
blessings.
I can't find the other word. Appreciation is the best.
Blessings.
Yeah.
What he does say is, besides our four pahala, that's foremost, I want to lose my weight. I mean, actually, there's this one year when I gained weight instead of lose weight during Ramadan, because I didn't realize that when it wasn't Ramadan, I wasn't eating well,
But during Ramadan, you need to make sure that you eat well, so that you're not.
It wasn't like a bad kind of gain weight. I was underweight, you know.
Yeah,
and so I went to a good weight.
So it's good.
So in a way that was good. That was very good.
A good idea for me as well.
Yes, you know, it's like good discipline.
Yeah.
Because before that I forget to eat, and then now I'm eating, and so I'm like, wow, I'm not underweight anymore. But then, you know, it's a bit funny. Rajat and Shaban, so fast. Yep, it is fasting training, and also like
preparation,
endurance training.
Yeah, you know? And also, I also
putting your mindset right, creating the right environment.
There's also like making like a sort of like test run, because sometimes you forget to certain things that you need to prepare. For example, if you have gastric problems, when you go through that and you remember, I have to buy certain medications,
or you're supposed to eat something. Avoid eating some other things.
So you're already preparing, and it's not a crucial time yet. So if you have to break your fast,
it's not as tragic.
It's not as tragic. So at least you have that. You've gone through that. So
that's true. I had a thought. Let me see if I can fish it back. Something about Ramadan. Oh yes, I remember. Another thing about Ramadan is another ibadah, because we've been mentioning fasting, sunnah prayers, reading Quran, holding yourself back, like disciplines. Also like giving others, helping others out, like zakat, and just helping others in general. One of the greatest thing about Ramadan though, let's talk about Ramadan. You were talking about what do I want to achieve, but just Ramadan itself. One of the best things alongside, definitely the best thing is that blessed feeling, that tranquil, that, just like environment. The thing that's so cool is that, the thing that you should be seeing, is how things can be, how beautiful things can be, like the environment can be, if everyone collectively does something.
Yes.
You can talk about Ramadan being blessed, it just is, in like some spiritual sense, but also you cannot argue that people tend to be nicer, more patient, It
involves like a whole society cooperation.
Yes, and so it shows you how society works, that each little action that you're like, like it's just one tissue on the ground, it's not like it's going to make a big mess. That is what builds up to the whole mess, littering problem that we have, Or things like just the way you treat each other, just the whole environment, the way you encourage each other, the way you feel better about yourself, and like, like the way how orphanages get so much food that they can like sometimes even like some orphanages have too much food. But then like the fact that they have food, because everyone wants to, that it shows how you can and
so like if you
so
actually
many problems
do that,
you can tackle.
I mean, if you take the whole Ramadan and repeat it every month, then the whole world's just much better place,
like it shows how collectively each action,
how it is actually possible to achieve,
and how there's so many problems in the world actually comes from our refusal to make these little changes, even if it seems insignificant. And definitely, like, now it's like Ramadan, not during like not Ramadan, during other months, yes, it may seem like so much more minuscule, these little actions that you're doing, because like no one's doing anything. But it's okay. It may seem insignificant, but everything affects each things. It's collectively, it's super good, but individually, it's a step. That sounded like such a good line that people will quote, like, like what was it again? Collectively, well, okay, it's super good. It's like a weird phrasing, but then collectively, it's super good. Individually, it's a step. Dash. Ramadan reflection. Can be more help the needed with fidya. Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many societal, like, it's true that mismanagement of like the economical finances and etc. leads to like crises in the sense of bad wealth distribution, and also like hunger, lots of people, homeless people, etc. It's true, it's definitely true, but the little things that you yourself can do can help. Again, collectively.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because the thing is that a lot of people don't see is that you do feel like it's just you doing this thing, but you have to realize the fact that you're doing it means there's like a ton of other people doing it as well. If you stop doing it,
even if there isn't a ton of people doing it, there's still this 1.00001, however insignificant mathematically it is.
It is significant in the
societal. Yeah, you're helping one person, and that one person may help another person. It just grows. And
the people who see you're helping might be encouraged to do better as well. It's the thing that every action that you take will affect others. So if you be better, then the world will be better.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, we were talking about Ramadan. One of the cool things alongside that, that over. Actually, that's okay. I keep on getting distracted because I keep on wanting to emphasize how the blessed, tranquil feeling is like the best thing, and then secondly, that whole environment that is created because everyone collectively does something. Like those two are so big. And this one thing that I want to mention is super cool, but then it's like so insignificant.
Yeah.
The food.
Yes.
Bubur lambo.
All the quiz.
Yes. The Bazaar Ramadan selling all these, like, it's true that you can get percik anytime. It's true that you can get those, we call them kuih donut. Kuih peneram, denderam, something like that.
I can't remember. I always don't remember.
Yeah. You don't remember the name. It's made from like gula melaka. Yeah. Gula merah. That circle thing.
Tiny pieces of
you can get those anytime, or like satay. Anything. You can get all of these any time of the year. But like during Ramadan, alongside the fact that you were very hungry throughout the whole year, it's just like the food is like extra good.
And the whole togetherness in specifically in general, like most of the time about cooking bubur lambo.
Yeah.
The whole community
yeah.
work, gotong royong in Malay, of making the food. It's
like, and then like even when you go and buy this one iconic food that you always buy every year. Let's say when you go to this Bazaar Ramadan, there's this one food that this person cooks, Or like for us, bubur lambuk. Denderam, thank you. Thank you. So, kuih denderam. That circle donut thing. Bubur lambuk, Kak Syam at Kampung Baru, we call her Auntie Syam because she's older. But then like bubur lambuk Kak Syam Kampung Baru, that action of it's just you from somewhere else going there to buy this food, but then even that comes with a sense of togetherness in some ways, and you're helping that person out when you buy the food from them, and the food's super good.
And there's also like in general the whole exciting feeling about Ramadan, like it's a festive season, so the whole, I mean, Kampung Baru
during Ramadan,
it's kind of like just this iconic thing that people just come for the sake of its iconicness, and like
it creates that sense of togetherness.
It's sort of like a tourist attraction. Sort of like,
and like when you're talking with someone else, you're like, oh, bubur kacang. They're like, oh, bubur kacang. That creates that sense. It's essentially.
So it adds up to the whole excitingness, the whole fun of Ramadan, and makes the whole situation much more exciting and such.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was going to mention something about Ramadan. We were mentioning bubur lambo. I can't recall. But then yeah. That's true. That's about. There's also the fact that a lot of people goes to the surau or mosque
more often.
Yeah, and that also creates a sense of togetherness. Some people are like, oh, like bulan puasa baru penuh masjid, and like like awal pertama je, and then like akhir. It's but then like, and it's true that sometimes they don't go for the intention of action, but for me it's always just cool that someone's doing,
even if they're not doing it with the right intentions. But it makes the whole situation more.
Yes, it makes the environment.
Yeah.
Like for someone else, perhaps seeing this many people, it motivates them. And perhaps in the end, not many people go to Surah, etc. But there's just that movement towards something good that I just appreciate.
And sometimes by going there without the right intention, you start to be encouraged.
Yeah,
get
that's
encouraged.
also true. That's true.
That's why sometimes you just want to, even though you don't feel like doing it, you just push yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes by doing it by force, forcing yourself to do it, you will end up doing it because you like it.
I just remembered the goal that I have. I was like, throughout the whole time, what is my Ramadan goal? I thought of one yesterday, just last night. Where is it forgetting? I want to try like salawat for like 1,000 times.
Nice.
Like, because like I always try to, but then sometimes I do, like, because I have like this threshold of like, okay, this is the minimum, and I just try to do more, but then now like I want to try that to be the minimum.
I keep forgetting to count. I have like the counter thing, but then I do not remember to use it. But
in the end, even if like just like that journey of like trying to reach for that goal, even if you don't reach it, I think that's the cool part about Ramadan.
You did this much this year.
Yes.
Or a certain unknown number, but you did it.
Yeah.
And you feel good.
Yeah.
So
like even if
it inspires you to do better.
Yep.
Like even if you do not reach it, it will inspire you to do better. And
the
then
first year I tried to finish the Quran, I think I was 8.
I can't remember.
I think I was 8.
When
7. I can't remember. I think I was 8 or 7. I think I was 7 turning 8. I think I was in my second year. Yeah. I didn't get to finish. I remember I started like, I think in the middle of the 4th juzuk or something. And then because that was where I stopped. So my idea was I just kept on reading from the 4th juzuk, finish it, and then I start again until I reach where I started. I already bookmark where it would be. I remember the last day, as I was finishing my last page, or like just last juzuk, our elder sister came down running down the staircase and told me like, Quran. And I was like, oh, it's so cool, because it was also her first year. I was like, that's so cool and everything. And I was like, because I didn't finish it, and then I finished it, but then I couldn't finish the 4 juzuk. Like I khatam Quran, but I didn't khatam Quran during Ramadan, like the whole Quran.
Not like 100% of the Quran read during.
So it's like, and I was like kind of sad, and I was like happy for her. But I was like kind of sad, and then I told her that I khatam Quran too, but I just like left the first pages. She's like, oh, but then you finished, and I'm like, yeah, but then like but then that was what really pushed me to finish it the year after that. Like that was like the strong motivation that I just kept on pushing myself, and so like you don't beat yourself up for it. Like it's true, it's sad.
I mean, there was a year that I like the amount of pages I read. It's quite, like, I can't remember how many years was it. It was like maybe 4 years ago or something like that. Where the amount of pages I read significantly dropped from the years before. Like before this, I always have it like at a constant, roughly the same, sometimes lower, sometimes higher. But that one's like significantly lower. So I was quite disappointed, but at the same time I was like, looking at what I did, that's what I should change. And you see it's better to fail, and then you realize where you can tackle it, because sometimes that helps you to do better than the one before. Because now you know what to tackle, rather than just
hitting it blindly.
Hitting it blindly. So.
And then there's also many other things that is like things that people often like look past. Things like helping others, like in the sense of giving money and etc., and like food, and there's also little things like helping out your family. Sometimes you're too distracted trying to chase all these ibadah for yourself that you're not helping others to also reach them. Like I remember when we were younger, our parents often scold us if we're like going about it too selfishly. Like we cut down our chores so that we can reach them, but we're not thinking about how other people also want
need to reach them, but then now they have to do our
extra
chores.
It's true that person gets pahala, cool. But then like they want to reach these things
it's
too.
still unfair.
It's very unfair, So like, and then there's those things like if you cannot fast, and so you would do more of the chores so that the others can perform their ibadah, and we're not upset by it because that in itself is an ibadah.
Because the thing about, even if you're not able to fast,
helping
someone
someone
else to
fast
and
perform
ibadah is
ibadah,
because you get the same rewards as the person gets and more.
It feels, in some ways, it feels like, but so
that's why you need to be aware, mindful, and
yes.
If you constantly remember that fact, then you're like, well, you could do anything, and you still feel,
It may still feel, but that essentially that's it.
It takes a while for you to convince yourself sometimes.
Like
a lot
accepting
of times.
it.
Yeah,
it's like
accepting.
Grief.
Yeah.
You lose Ramadan. Sad. So that's basically about Ramadan goals and what you want to achieve, and just reaching that high position of victory in the end. And now, while the spirits are high, push for it. I like to pace myself, make sure I read this much Quran, then I'm done with that. Okay, I do not focus too much on reading more because I want to help others too, and etc. But then sometimes while your spirits are high, you can just fill in, because sometimes when the motivate sinks down a bit, then it's like a buffer.
Yeah,
it's not cool for you should not.
Yeah.
You should try to keep it consistent, definitely. But it's also cool to have a buffer so that when you skip if you just one day you're less consistent, one day you're less, you push yourself less, you're slacking off on one day, at least it's not as daunting on the next day. And if you khatam the Quran half of the month and you already khatam the Quran, don't stop. Just keep doing it.
Sometimes once you reach, you're like, okay, good.
Perhaps you can if your goal is just to read once, perhaps you can just not read, you not push yourself to read as much as, okay, if you were to read khatam the Quran twice in a month, if you khatam the Quran during half of Ramadan, at the half of Ramadan, you're already in the middle of Ramadan, you're already khatam the Quran. That means that you can khatam the Quran twice. A month, which means that you average read 2 juz a day. Okay, but if your goal was just to khatam once, it is okay for me personally. It's okay if you do not want to push yourself to read 2 juz a day and just read 1 juz
and focus on other
ibadah. As long as you are mindful that you're not taking this negative time doing other stuff that's not, if you are, say for example, you want to focus on sunnah prayers and etc., or even you want to help others out, okay, you do even more chores now, so that, because perhaps for some other people it's harder for them to read the Quran, they read slower perhaps, or they have less time because they have studies and
so
etc.
that on its own can cover. And sometimes because of how much people could do while you're helping, you actually get more than when you're doing it your own.
But then it doesn't matter about the count.
I know. I get what you mean.
So so if
having that in mind makes you feel better.
I don't know, I think for me, just in the end, having the fact, knowing that you helped someone else, that is the fact that's cool, because someone else really want to do it too, so it's that sense of togetherness. That's essentially it.
Back to the whole rock climbing thing. If you really reach the
cliff
top,
climbing.
If you already reach the top, doesn't mean that you could just go to bed or sleep or run away or something. You can still help each other through your own ways, with what you could, So it's
I have a problem with analogy sometimes where I overthink it. I'm like, does that mean that you carried a bed onto the top?
What I meant by going to bed is
how is the surrounding on that? Is the environment sleepable? Is it habitable? Is it comfortable up there that you want to go to sleep? Don't you want to perhaps just go down, and go back home? But yes, so Ramadan Mubarak to everyone, and we hope that it would be a great month for you, blessed month, and that you attain your goals, that you can perform your fasts and prayers and all that. It's really great to, I think amongst the reason why I want to do this live podcast is because to have this because There's so many entertainment out there. Like, it's nice to have these. One of the things I look forward to when I was younger were like these like Ramadan themed shows, or just stuff, because like these are the things that motivate you to be better to reach your goals. You know, so like seeing them and you're like, oh, okay. So like now that you have this is actually part of like our exam in like like Ramadan ibadah, because it's like trying to help others. So
and at the same time others can help us as well.
How?
Through
yeah, exactly
because it's like a two-way interaction. So
yes, definitely yeah, that's why we chose like this format instead of like a recorded. That's true. So Ramadan Mubarak to everyone, and we hope that was like supposed to be the line when we ended. But it's okay. It's okay. But then I was supposed to say more stuff like we'll see you again next week, same time, same day. I mean, I sometimes get confused when someone says same day. The automatic thing in my head is like, can't be the same day, it's the next week. But then it's okay. Sunday, 9:30 a.m. in the morning, because mornings are great. Yes. And then now you say
Takabbalallahu minna wa minkum,
and then we say like goodbye. Ramadan Mubarak, and hope to see you guys again next week. Bye. Bye. Bye Wahida.
Bye.
Okay, this is a long wave. Bye. We're like ending. Bye. This is the part where no. Okay, like, you know what? Let me fix this. I'm sorry, our settings are not working. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Bye.